What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Armchair Fantasy Football. It is draft time. It is 2024 fantasy football season time. I already see a couple of you in the chats. Thank you so much for joining. Got a couple of videos out a couple of weeks ago on quarterback options, who you should not be drafting, and much more. But before the season started, I really just wanted to kind of attack everything at once. So this is, by all means, an open question and answer session. You see the graphic at the bottom there. Ask me any of your fantasy football questions that you may have. I'm going to be drafting for the next hour, maybe 2 hours. We'll see how today goes. But yeah, let's get going. Expert 12-team draft. I kind of just want to show you guys what goes through my head when I am drafting. I will be looking in the live chat, so if you have any questions at all, that will take precedent. Let's enter the draft here. PPR 12-team format. Excuse me, it's been a while. I would say pretty standard. It's going to apply to the situation a lot of you guys are in. So I'll just take you through my thought process here. Hopefully everyone enters the lobby in the next minute so we don't have a ton of auto picks. I am back end, so pick number 10. I see we've got Andy in the chat, Mega Brick, Prey. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I see the familiar names. We're here to help you. All right, under a minute to go. What's the best pick versus the worst pick in a 12-man standard draft PPR? I would say best pick is anywhere between 6 and 7 and 1. 1, you get precedent, but you have a horrible 1-2 round turn because then, for example, in a 12-team, right, if I pick 1, I am missing out on the next 22 guys, but I do have that back-to-back flip. So I like 1, I like 6, and I like 7. Worst, I would honestly say, is around where I am right now, that 10, 11, 12 range. You do get the quick turnaround. I would argue 10 or 11 is probably the worst because you don't get to pick 2 in a row, so you can still get sniped. And then even so, yes, I have 2 picks in the next 6 attempts, but then I have a huge hiatus again of 18. So that's my argument there. Pretty much everyone's in the lobby, so this should be a good one. So back end of 1, if I can get a value pick on like a Justin Jefferson, I know J.J. McCarthy's not there, but again, you're going to have a team that's probably losing a decent amount of ball games, going to be relying on the pass, playing from behind a decent amount. I wouldn't mind Justin Jefferson. Saquon Barkley coming off the injury. Yes, he's an expensive running back. Philly does run the ball a lot. Great offensive line. I could see something like that. I would love if Amon-Ra fell to me, but I don't see that happening. It's pretty much chalk so far. Brees is off the board. Dynasty, Tyler Lockett or Bucky Irving? I would probably go Bucky Irving just because we are kind of trying to plan for the future, Andy. So, yeah, I'm going to take Bucky. I do love Tyler Lockett. In a redraft, if we're going right now, I'm taking Tyler Lockett, but otherwise, not so much. We're looking for that 5-year span, 5-year upside, right? All right, so 2 picks away. There goes Jefferson. If Jamar falls to me, I'm fine with that. I mean, Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, this is one of the better offenses in the league still. It is a different Bengals team. And actually, I'll show you my thought process too here. I'm kind of going to go and jump in and out of this tab. One more pick. Somebody jumped for Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm okay with that. Jamar is free. I'm kind of in between Jamar and Jonathan Taylor. Jamar has been more available in a better offense. I'm going to go Jamar. And now, so I have the 2-3 turn. I'm going to start to put some guys in my queue. I took a wide receiver. This is PPR, standard PPR. We're in an expert lobby. Not a big neighbors guy. If I double up on wide receiver, my next pick has to be running back. So at some point, I need to put a running back in. I doubt that Pacheco falls to me, but like the situation that he's in. Derrick Henry in that offense, if he is around, I'll take him at the end. If Pacheco is alive at 16 here, 15, excuse me, I will probably take him. If Garrett Wilson, by some miracle, is alive, I'm taking him over Pacheco. So we're going to go Wilson, then Pacheco. One of those two will be available, so that's going to be my next pick here. Pacheco, in a winning offense that's going to be running the ball a lot in the fourth quarter and is more involved as a pass catcher. Unfortunately for me, Garrett Wilson is off the board, but I'm fine with that. Pacheco, good situation. Not much target competition either. We're going to go with him. All right, now we got to wait a little bit, right? So now we're going to be looking around pick 36, 37. I have one of each. I don't see a huge gap between like an Alvin Kamara and a Devon Achane or Ramondre Stevenson. So I'm kind of comfortable with my running backs maybe being my 4th round pick. Who can I take here at the wide receiver spot? Do I go ahead and jump at a quarterback? I would say if you can jump at Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, Jax, any of these guys, I'm not going to risk it on Anthony Richardson, but mobile QBs with plenty of upside for the long term, we're going to jump on them. I'll tell you what, a lot of people are down on Jalen Hurts because of the turnovers. He was still QB2 last year. He still had 15 rushing touchdowns. I know Jason Kelce retired. I'm going to queue him up. I just want to make sure people are healthy. There's nothing crazy going on here. For whatever reason, Bing is my default browser. Not really sure why. Let's go and check in the chat here. League went CMC, CD, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Jefferson at 5, and then Breece at 6. That's pretty interesting that I hate to like bank on people getting hurt. But CMC being completely healthy last year, being another year older, there's a lot of options on that offense. He is a weapon when he's healthy. I've been seeing more of CD or Tyreek going first overall. I like CD over Tyreek because Tyreek is now 30 years old. CD's got more years ahead of him. Dallas, if nothing else, is an electric offense. They can put up yards, put up fantasy points. Thank you guys so much for joining. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. But most importantly, ask me any fantasy football questions you have here. 12-man PPR. I had 4th pick. Did I reach with Amon-Ra? I don't think so because that's one of those where he's probably within 2 or 3 picks of you, Mega Brick. He's not going to be there for the 2nd round, obviously. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the more consistent talents in the league. I mean, if we look at Amon-Ra, where did he go here? 6? Yeah, I don't think that's a reach at all. Let's just look at what he's done, right? I mean, 1,000-yard season after 1,000-yard season. I've got a little time here. He's improved year over year. More touchdown involvement, more targets each year, more receptions each year, more yards per reception each year. He's becoming more of a vertical threat as Jared Goff has been in that offense for a couple years. All right, so I'm stashing Hurts. Excuse me. It might be reaching a little bit if I were to take him at 34. I'm probably going to look for him at 40. We'll check out who's available at running back here. Rachaad White, I just want to make sure there's not a ton of competing parties. Everyone's healthy. Just give me the ESPN roster. Am I going nuts? Okay, there we go. So Trey Palmer, who I did like as a dynasty move. If he keeps getting hurt, I'm not sure how much I like him. It's still Evans, Godwin, Otton, McMillan. Rachaad White is likely not going to fall to me, but maybe he would. I don't know. Not very efficient last year, obviously. White did get more rushes than I expected. Tampa Bay was one of the more pass-heavy offenses in the league a couple years ago. They dialed it back a little bit more. Baker looked pretty comfortable. Hey, what's going on? We got Johnny in the chat. How are you, man? Annoying news this season. My draft in the coming days will be a randomized order. Any advice on what the strategy should be? Really depends on what pick you're at, Johnny. You got to be hoping for those first 1 or 2 picks, or in my opinion, the 5, 6, because then you're constantly in a pretty good spot. You don't have to wait too long between picks. It's consistent. Brian says, good seeing you back on the live streams, man. Of course, of course. I'm going to really prioritize live streams. I think helping you guys in a live capacity is better than not. We do know Ayuk is back. Debo is nearing the age of 30. I believe he's turning 29. Kittle's up there. I'm going to stick to my guns and go Rachaad White because now my running back position is pretty much taken care of. I do have 2 pass catchers. And I think I am going to take Hurts on the turn because I still get one of the better quarterbacks in the league when it comes to rushing upside. Hurts or Allen, really. It's a toss-up. Josh Allen has been number 1 in 3 of the last 4 years in a standard PPR format. Yeah, if you guys are just jumping in, ask me any fantasy football questions you may have. Kind of just taking you through my thought process in a 12-team PPR. If you want me to do half PPR next or standard, I can do that as well. Maybe I'll throw a poll in the chat here in a moment. We have taken Chase, end of 1. Pacheco, start of 2. I thought I got good value for that. And then White, end 3. We're at start 4 right now, and I might jump for my rushing quarterback. I want to make sure I don't miss out on too much value at the wide receiver position. DJ Moore in round 4 is not a bad pick at all. I did put out a video saying that Moore is going to lose some value, and I do truly believe that. You see ESPN's agreeing with me. Competing interests like Rome Odunze, obviously Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet back, and Justin Fields really relied on DJ Moore. Caleb, a better prospect, likely going to spread the ball out a little bit more. Oh, he just went. All right, no DJ Moore for me. Stephon Diggs, sharing with Nico Collins, Tank Dell. I don't like Malik Neighbors in that offense. So considering I really don't like a lot of the options up here right now, I'm going to take the number 1 quarterback in 3 of the last 4 years and go Josh Allen. There's some good back-end talent here. Like Christian Kirk is now in a wide receiving core with just Gabe Davis, and I say that because Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley have left the receiving core. You know, I can stash Christian Kirk for like a 7th or 8th round pickup. Chris Godwin is quietly one of the more consistent receivers in the game. I'm not mad if he's my wide receiver too. Chase is kind of my home run hitter. The guy who's supposed to get me 25, 30-point performances. Got more questions here. Let's see. Great to see you all as well. Thank you so much for the positivity. I know it has been a while. Let's see what questions we have. Great to see you, Brian. One of my day ones. My strategy last season was trying to bank on players with potential like Dameon Pierce and Christian Watson, and it did fail miserably. I think I'll have to go with experience first and then potential later. I mean, Brian, if you're in a dynasty, then you want to buy into some potential in those mid to late rounds. And then obviously for your second year, you're drafting just rookies, so it's all about potential. But yeah, Brian, I would say for the most part, you want to go with guys who have done it. So instead of a Christian Watson, last year, you were probably getting Chris Godwin around the same time, maybe a couple rounds earlier, and we've seen Chris Godwin do it time and time and time again, right? You know, a lot of people are cautious with Marvin Harrison because of the offense he's going to be in. We saw DeAndre Hopkins do great things with Kyler Murray. That was a battering ram of a duo. Not suggesting Marv and Kyler as a stack unless you're someone who really likes to wait back and take a late-round quarterback. Andy's saying live streams are the best. Yeah, I am really going to try and do more live streams. I'll churn out a video here and there. Work has been crazy. I've been at this job for a full year now, so I've been calling Division I college games. I'm a play-by-play broadcaster for the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, so the Phoenix. And then I call high school games. I have a show going on, or starting, I should say, on September 16th. So 2 Mondays from... Yeah, 2 Mondays from this one. So it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow. And that's going to be on ESPN Radio in Wisconsin. So very cool stuff. Monday to Friday, 4 to 5. I got the afternoon drive time. So maybe I'll start dropping those links. Just very, 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 very busy. Doing sales, doing marketing, managing the team's social media accounts. But I do want to make time for you guys. And I do think the best way to make that make sense is to just go live. I still do my research for my own teams. I'm doing my research for you guys. I just don't know if it's going to be feasible for me to dedicate hours and hours and hours to edit long videos. It's probably going to be more like it was in 2022, where I would do shorts and I would go live a lot. So hopefully that's what you guys are looking for. Johnny's saying, it seems like there's a ton of decent quality running backs that end up in the later rounds. The quality at wide receiver drops off significantly after the first 2 to 3 rounds. And that's why I kind of just went with Josh Allen in round 4. I felt like, you know, I'm looking at around the same tier of guys here. I think the drop-off already happened in this draft, Johnny. So I'm kind of like, okay, let me just cut my losses and understand that I can still get solid guys like Godwin, and it's not really going to make a difference if I wait around for him a little bit because I got the number 1 quarterback in 3 of the last 4 years. Amir Johnson's in here. How's it going, Amir? Would you take Jacobs over Henry? I would not this year. Josh Jacobs obviously way younger than Derrick Henry, I believe by a couple of years at the moment. Josh Jacobs is going to get a lot of usage, but I think Henry is in a better spot at the moment. It's super close, but Henry's in one of the best running offenses in the entire league and a team that runs the ball more than anybody else over the course of the last 5 years, whereas the Packers did just pay Jordan Love oodles of money. They made him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. He's going to spread the ball out a decent amount. I do think that Josh Jacobs is going to be involved in the passing game, but I'm taking Henry by a smidge right now. Dynasty, Jacobs by a mile. Redraft, Henry by just a little bit. Is this our mock draft? How do I get in? Andy, this is just a regular mock draft. I just went into a lobby and found a 2:15 time slot. I might do a mock with our players. I think we only have 5 in the league right now. Who do you think will be the best receiver out of the Texans trio? Amir, short term, it's going to be Stephon Diggs. That's what they paid for. I do like Nico Collins and Tank Dell as a 1-2 punch in that order. I like Tank a little bit more. I like Nico a little more than Tank. We are going to go Chris Godwin here. Calvin Ridley, still only been back for a year, new offense. We know Chris Godwin. We know what he can do in that offense, and we know that Baker had a pretty good year. What was the question I was just answering here? Best receiver out of the Texans trio. Yeah, so Amir, if I'm ranking them, I'm going Stephon, Nico, pretty close 1-2, and then Tank Dell. Tank Dell is kind of like that Christian Watson, right? Like a vertical threat, much more reliable than Christian Watson, I would argue. He hasn't been hurt nearly as much. Pretty small sample size, just coming off his rookie year. But I think it's going to be Nico and then Tank for the years going forward. This year it is Stephon, Nico, and Tank. Just assuming that based on how much Stephon Diggs is going to make this year, and he's been a wide receiver 1 for a lot longer, and they're going to want to use him before they lose him. You know, Stephon Diggs is also 30 years old. He has a chance to prove his worth. Yeah, Johnny, I just think there's a lot of target competition, but I love Stephon Diggs. He was phenomenal. Last year, the back end of last year, we did see a lack of consistency. Also, my pick is coming up, and I think I don't want to triple up on wide receiver quite yet. Oh, you guys are going to give me flack, but Kyle Pitts is going to sit around and be on my radar, and I might take him in round 8 if he's there, round 7, round 8. I don't need to jump for him. Maybe I get another running back here. Zamir White's going to have the backfield pretty much all to himself. Javonte has not been very efficient and is coming off. I don't like the value. I'm going to go Tank. Kind of felt pressured into that one, but I didn't love the rest of my options. I am still not a believer in the Cleveland passing offense. I do think Amari Cooper is phenomenal. I think Tank's got a little more upside. Yeah, I probably should have taken Amari. Not going to lie to you. Not a great offense, but he's been the guy for them. They run it very well. He had the 51-point performance that won me some playoff games last year. That might have been a mistake. I'll see if he hangs around. But I like the offense that Tank is in a lot better. We'll see. How has everyone been? What have you guys been up to? Did Nico? I just assumed Nico Collins had been drafted already. Yeah, he was. Okay. I would have really shot myself in the foot there. Amir saying, who has more of a higher ceiling for PPR this season? Marvin Harrison or Malik Nabers? So in a vacuum, those two are very close prospect-wise. I would still take Marvin Harrison over Malik Nabers, but I am definitely taking Marvin Harrison Jr. over Malik Nabers because of the situations they're in. Now, the Cardinals aren't going to be a phenomenal football team, but Kyler has shown that he can carry the load, shoulder the load with a wide receiver 1. We saw him do it with DeAndre Hopkins. Malik Nabers is in an offense that doesn't really know who their quarterback is going to be in 2025. I'm talking about the start of 2025. It's supposed to be Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is making a lot of money. I can step away here. I believe Daniel Jones is owed. I was just watching Hard Knocks, the offseason version with the Giants. Let me know if any of you have been watching that with the Bears. Obviously, they're a few episodes in. Preseason's wrapped up. I thought it was a good series this year. I believe Daniel Jones is owed a lot of money. And I was a big Daniel Jones stan. If you find any quarterbacks with rushing upside and a decent offense, which the offense is not decent anymore, and his rushing upside doesn't really matter if he's not available, I'm going to go after him usually. Okay, yeah, big cap hit. Let's just take the best off the board here. And I do think, do I want to quadruple up on wide receiver? Jaylen Warren with the pass catching upside and the fact he's been way more efficient than Najee Harris. I'm still a pretty big believer on him. Yeah, we'll go with him. Don't love that pick, but that's okay. But yeah, I was answering Amir's question. Malik Neighbors is not in a good situation. I still think he'll be fine. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is in a much better spot with a quarterback that's thrown around that 4,000-yard mark. Daniel Jones has not shown an ability to have a ton of deep ball accuracy and really help any of his receivers thrive. Saquon's been great. Got a lot of dump-offs from DJ, Danny Dimes. But, yeah, I'm going to say Marvin Harrison Jr. A little bit of a better prospect, way better situation. Maybe Austin Eckler, Johnny was saying. I'm worried about Eckler, man. I think he took a lot of impact the last couple of years. Took a step back last year. Been working, but only 3 days a week in August, says Andy. Man, I wish I was doing 3 days a week right now. We do need a tight end. I see some value down here. I'm actually going to stash Dalton Schultz. Call me an absolute nut, but I'm going to take Christian Kirk here. Due to the lack of target competition, if we look at... Again, remember, Calvin Ridley is gone. Zay Jones is gone. Gabe Davis is in. And Christian Kirk is technically the wide receiver one. And we just got him at 90? No. 87. I think that was a pretty good value pick. Trevor Lawrence just got paid. I know he hasn't been what people have wanted. Oh, we're going heavy auto now. That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks, not going to lie. I might take a flyer on one of the better tight end prospects in the league. And Brock Bowers, he's not in a great offense. Gardner Minshew, I do think, is manageable. We're going to do another drive here in a moment. Raven Show is in here. How's it going? Says, can you help me negotiate a trade? I sure can. Let me know. Tribe says Puka is the number one wide receiver. I agree. I am not taking Cooper Kupp in the first couple of rounds this year. I don't want to jump for someone like Bowers. It really isn't jumping, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would have 5. I don't see a ton of value at tight end right now. I'm going to take Jacoby Myers. And then we'll get our guy probably in Dalton Schultz or Brock Bowers. I really don't need to jump for Schultz. I'm not too eager to jump at tight ends this year. You know, it's not the juggernaut of Travis Kelce and TJ Hawkinson, and Evan Ingram's a pretty good pick, but I feel like there's not this huge gap between the top tier guys and everyone else. I do believe that with the quarterback situation. I think Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, I think those four are far and away the best. Ravens saying 12 team. Head-to-head, full PPR. It's a super flex, so we've got a couple of running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 super flex, and a tight end. It's on Sleeper. Let's see it. And I'm going to take my tight end here. If it's Bowers, I will take him because I do think he'll have a decent amount of involvement. And then Jameson Williams is still way too high in my opinion. He's been getting drafted as like the wide receiver 48. Don't love that, to be honest, considering he didn't even crack the top 80 last year. Okay, so Raven says, this is my team. I have Kyler, Gibbs, Connor, Debo, Diggs, BTJ. Oh, I just scrolled down. Kyle Pitts, Keon Coleman, and then on the bench, we've got Jared Goff, great backup quarterback. Devin Singletary, who is now a Giant. Blake Corum, Joshua Palmer, who really got an upgrade in terms of targets this year, in my opinion, because he doesn't have a whole lot. Danny Crimes, I hope that's not a typo. Ray Davis and Josh Downs. This is his team. He wants Keon Coleman. All right. We'll dial that up in a moment here. We've got 3 backs, 4 receivers. We'll go with Khalil Shakir. Not trying to be the smartest guy in the room, but obviously with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis gone, he's not going to have a ton of target competition either. And I do need a defense. Good pass rushers, obviously, alongside Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. 49ers have always been very solid. We'll go with the game wreckers and the Cowboys. They pretty good at causing turnovers. About half of you, we've got 55% on the poll right now, have done your draft. 45% have not. He wants Keon Coleman. I mean, we're really digging into the bench here, right? And then Alex P, I'll get to your comment next. Danny Crimes, that still kills me. If he wants Keon Coleman, and he has JT, James Cook, Puka Nacua, T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Dalton Schultz, Cortland Sutton, Matt Stafford, Rico Dowdle, Amir White, Jerry Jeudy, Brock Bowers, Knox, and Mason. Let's look at your tight end situation. You have Kyle Pitts. Maybe we get a backup tight end. Okay, so the thing is, you're putting Keon Coleman as your starter. Maybe we dig into the back end of his starting lineup. If you don't see value on his team, you don't need to give him Keon Coleman. I guess, where are you looking to upgrade? I don't love Jerry Jeudy, even on the new team. Maybe if you want someone more proven and you're a Bo Nix believer, you go after Cortland Sutton straight up. But Keon Coleman long-term, I think, has more upside with the target competition or lack thereof. Ravens, what do you want on your... What do you want to add to your team? Because in my opinion, I don't think you need to give up Keon Coleman. I like him more than most of the options that you could trade over for. Romeo is the declared wide receiver 1 on the Packers. That's going to be a spread out attack, but we'll go with him. And I am done with receivers. Didn't see a whole lot of value in the backfield. And now I really don't. Keaton Mitchell's out. Samaje Perine is a Chief now. Marshawn Lloyd is going to be interesting because A.J. Dillon's out for the year, and if they don't make a move at running back 2, he probably is the running back 2, him or Emmanuel Wilson. So we'll go there. I'll go kicker, and then I'll take one more skill position. I was thinking maybe Keon Coleman and Singletary for Rashee Rice and something else. We got to keep an eye on Rashee Rice. Looking to upgrade at wide receiver. Let's go with the legend, Younghoe Koo. I'll take a little break here and catch up on your questions, and then we'll run back another mock draft, because why not? Backup tight end, maybe. Cole Kmet, I mean, holy target competition, right? He's going to have Rome, he's going to have Keenan Allen, and he's going to have DJ Moore to compete with. And they just got Gerald Everett as well. So he actually has some direct competition in the tight end room. We'll see. All right, I'm going to flip out of there for a second. We'll do another mock draft in a moment. I want to prioritize your questions here. Let's see. So Ravens, you want to upgrade at wide receiver. Danny Crimes was not a typo. Andy, this is not our mock draft. No. Just looking at his team. Maybe you go Keon and Singletary for T. Higgins and a bench piece. Because T. Higgins would be an upgrade in my opinion. We know he kind of has an established track record. Whereas Keon, yes, he's in a good situation. But again, we're taking a risk with a rookie. We know Josh Allen's going to chuck it. Maybe we go Keon and Devin Singletary for T. Higgins. And you're going to have to take a lesser value on the second one because I do believe that so far if we go Keon, Singletary, and Higgins, T. Higgins is the best player in this deal, so we don't want to screw the other person over too much to the point where they don't deal with us anymore. We'll go Higgins. He has a lot of tight ends. So maybe we go Higgins and Knox or Bowers. Bowers would have more value. I don't know if you'll get Bowers, though. T. Higgins and Dalton Knox. So you're going... Or Dawson Knox, not Dalton Kincaid. T. Higgins and Dawson Knox. So the first and fourth best players in this deal. For Keon Coleman and Devin Singletary. Because for your backs, you have Jahmyr Gibbs, James Conner, Corum. I don't know if we should be giving up a running back. What if we go Keon? Keon and Joshua Palmer for T. Higgins and Brock Bowers. Then you still have two receivers. You get more upside. Bowers, you can make the argument, isn't in a great offense, but I do think he'll get a pretty decent piece of that pie. Try that, Ravens. So we're going to go Bowers and Higgins is who you're getting. And you give away Keon Coleman and Joshua Palmer. And an offense that's clearly going to run more. They brought Harbaugh in. I will mock draft again, too. I just want to answer your questions here. Yeah. He would have a triple stack with Allen, Cook, and Coleman. I see. Okay. And then Andy saying, just went Laporta on the second in this mock. I mean, yeah, Laporta is kind of the runaway guy right now. This is not our mock draft, Andy. Yeah. Danny Crimes not being a typo is actually hilarious. I think that's phenomenal. Let's see. Got Joe in here. How's it going, Joe? See if I can get your guys' comments up here. I thought... There we go. Yeah, any other fantasy football questions you guys have, feel free to ask me. There we go. I'll put you guys in the corner here. Joe says, standard. I have Williams. Oh, I like it. Caleb and Trevor. So we're going young. Bijan. So standard, we are just looking at output on the ground for the most part with these backs, or yards in general. Bijan, Etienne, Jerome Ford, Aaron Jones. Very deep running back room for a 12 team. Debo, Kupp, Sutton, Polk. Debo's going to be 29. Kupp is pretty injury prone. Sutton might want to upgrade at running back, or excuse me, at wide receiver if you have, oh, you said anything I could have done better. Tight end, we have Jake Ferguson. Love it. Taysom Hill always seems to get in a groove once the offense is kind of looking for answers back half of the season. Jets on defense, don't mind that at all, especially with the secondary and Sauce Gardner. Wide receiver, I would upgrade at, and I feel like you're overloaded at running back. You could pair up Jerome Ford and Aaron Jones and go out and get, if you can get someone consistent, you know, it doesn't have to be a home run swing like a Justin Jefferson or an Amon-Ra St. Brown. Joe, I'd be curious if you can go out and get Chris Godwin, because you're likely not taking a team's wide receiver one, but you're getting consistency, right? So if you could take Aaron Jones and Courtland Sutton and get Chris Godwin, that person gets some rushing upside, obviously, and Aaron Jones coming off a pretty great season when he was available. There's a little bit of age there. But I think you need a consistent, look, I know this guy is going to get 12 points type of player. In standard, maybe closer to 10 points. And that is Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's going to get you between 8 and 10 points. Very consistent output. Let's look at him real quick, actually. I will jump in another mock draft here in a moment. Thank you guys so much for joining if you just are. This is Armchair Fantasy Football. If you are new, make sure you hit the like button. We're looking for at least 10 today. Hit subscribe as well. Probably going to go live tomorrow on Labor Day. I am off work then. We're really going to go live a lot this fantasy season as opposed to churning out the videos. Great way to interact with you guys in a real-time capacity. What was I looking up? I just want to look at Chris Godwin's game log from last year. Well, first of all, 4 of the last 5 years, 1,000-yard receiver. Can't really say that about a lot of your other guys due to injury. Aaron Jones and Courtland Sutton for Chris Godwin feels fair because you are so deep at running back. Yeah, so, again, he's oddly enough, he was carrying the ball a little bit. So if we're looking at like 8+ points, we've got 1 here, almost have 1 here, 1 here, that's 3, 4, basically 5, 6. He's pretty dang consistent. I mean, the output is there, the yards per reception, 12.3. It's not bad. Chris Godwin's a good, consistent presence. And I would say he's going to give you more than Courtland Sutton would. And you're so loaded at running back, I don't think you need Aaron Jones. Maybe even try Jerome Ford and Courtland Sutton first. Because Courtland Sutton does have a track record. But yeah, Joe, I would upgrade at wide receiver. Go after someone consistent like Chris Godwin. Christos is here saying I have Smith. I'm assuming Devontae. Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors. Should I start Worthy or Addison week 1? Addison. I believe Jordan Addison's out for the year. Oh, no, he's not. I know he got into some trouble. Let's look at opposition. It's going to be Sam Darnold, obviously, with J.J. McCarthy down. I just realized I said out for the year. I definitely did not mean that, but I knew he was in some trouble. Jordan Addison's coming off an electric season. Can we trust Sam Darnold to spread the ball out? TJ will be out. We're really going to get a lot more clarity Tuesday when the first week injury reports come out as well. But let's see what we're working with here. Marquise Brown likely not playing, so it'll be Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and then Travis Kelce. This is against a tough defense in Baltimore. Jordan Addison, at least we have more of a track record on, so I'm kind of leaning him. And against New York. New York's got good pass rushers. They have Brian Burns now. But yeah, right now at this very moment, Christos, I would go with Addison. Has pretty much a 1,000-yard season under his belt. Not the best quarterback play. Weaker opposition, Xavier Worthy. Better quarterback, very tough opposition, a rookie. We don't know much. Raven says, I like that offer. Thank you so much. Yeah, no problem. Let me know how it goes. Joe saying also Lockett and Dobbs. Oh, you've got Lockett and Dobbs. Okay, I like Romeo Dobbs because he is declared as the wide receiver 1 on a team with the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. So he'll get his looks. He's more that 50-50 guy. Jaden Reed runs out of a slot. Swiss Army knife. Think kind of Tavon Austin usage-ish. Yeah. Okay. Andy saying, got confused. Sorry. You're good. You're good. Christo saying, Chuba Hubbard for second flex. No, I would definitely go Addison. I know the QB play isn't great, but look, they're probably going to have to throw it. I don't know. New York's not a great team either. So maybe the Vikings work ahead. But with that many weapons and that much of a draft capital investment outside the numbers with guys like Addison on one end and Jefferson on the other, I do like that a little bit more. Andy's saying Brandin Cooks or Tyler Lockett at flex. Let's look at scheduling here. Off the cuff, I do like Lockett a little bit more right now because he has more recent involvement. More consistent involvement, I should say. If you guys are just jumping in, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe. Most importantly, drop into the chat and ask me your fantasy football questions. I have another mock draft on deck as well. Just playing a little catch up here. Where are the Seahawks? Against Denver. And then Cooks against Cleveland. Both tough matchups. I would go Lockett, a little more consistent between the two. I mean, even if we just want to look at, like, their output as of late, Andy, if we look at Brandin Cooks, dude, why is my default browser Bing? I'm going to fix that. We will be live streaming again tomorrow, so make sure you guys jump in there. And then actually, if you go in the link in the description, there should be something that says something along the lines of join our fantasy football league. I have like 8 spots open at the moment out of 12. So feel free to join that. Good way to interact throughout the season. You guys can take me head on. Yeah, Lockett is literally like as reliable as they come. Just from a games played perspective, right? It's not sexy. It's not a 1,500-yard season. It's not 12 touchdowns. But he's very reliable. He's 31, but he takes care of his body. I mean, you could see the film out there. I brought this up on past videos, but the guy, like, doesn't get hit. He just eats an extra yard and then takes a dive. Yeah. I do like the offense that Brandin Cooks is in. But there's a lot of focus on CD, a lot of focus on Jake Ferguson. Dak's going to throw for a lot. But we've just had more consistent output in the last 2 seasons. What are we looking at for Brandin Cooks? 11 touchdowns, about 111 receptions, and 1,300 yards. For Tyler Lockett, over 1,900 yards, over 160 receptions, and 14 touchdowns. Yeah, Lockett all day right now. They have about the same matchup rigor-wise, so to cancel out, I'm just going to look at the prospect as a whole. In a vacuum, I would take Lockett every day of the week. That is what I would do. So, yep, we'll go Lockett, Andy. Raven saying, I sent that offer over. Thank you for helping. I asked another streamer, and they thought that Keon Coleman and Devin Singletary for Rashee Rice made sense, but I felt like I was getting fleeced. You were getting fleeced, my friend. Keon Coleman and Devin Singletary, yes, they're getting their... well, no, it's not a stack anymore. Singletary is now with the Giants. Singletary, a very efficient running back from last year. He went out and basically took the job away from Dameon Pierce, who everybody was able to... or who everyone was ready to crown as the number 1 in Houston. Singletary took that away. Won some people a lot of fantasy games last year, especially towards the end in the playoffs. Rashee Rice, in some trouble. Had a good first season, but is still competing with Travis Kelce. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal quarterback. But Keon Coleman, especially with his upside, I think there's a lot of value there. He doesn't have to battle with Gabe Davis. He doesn't have to battle with Stephon Diggs. He has Khalil Shakir and then a lot of guys that are younger and don't have a ton of experience in general. A ton of experience with Josh Allen. Keon Coleman falls into that boat, so now it's just who can get open. There's not really prior rapport built up. Keon and Rashee Rice are a lot closer than I think people want to admit. And then you throw Devin Singletary in there, who is sneakily a top 30 running back. Yeah, no. Got to get more than that. Christos saying, I had pick 2 in my draft, and I took Bijan. Puka fell all the way to round 2. Laporta to round 4. That is phenomenal. Malik Neighbors to round 5. With Kyler at quarterback, I'm happy this year. You caught a lot of people who just kept falling. You know, I'm not a big Malik Neighbors fan, but if he's available in the 4th or 5th round and I like where I'm at elsewhere, I'll probably take him. Puka to round 2 is phenomenal. Kyler, I'm assuming you waited around for. I like it. We have Sticker, welcome. We have Rate My Team, 8 team. Okay, I was just about to ask. Quarterback Lamar, so top 5. Round 1, we've got Jahmyr Gibbs, like top 10, top 12-ish if he can stay healthy. James Cook, same exact thing, especially, hear me out, James Cook pass catching upside, phenomenal with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis out of town. And he was already phenomenal last year at that as well. Wide receiver 1, Tyreek. Wide receiver 2, Devontae Adams. Tight end, Kelsey. Flex, DK. Defense, Dallas, Tucker. Got T and Zamir White on the bench. 8 teams. You want me to rate the whole thing and give it a grade? I think it's phenomenal. I really like the depth at running back. Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill. You got Kelsey at tight end. Best kicker in the game, and Justin Tucker for bonus points. Dallas forces turnovers. I'll go A minus, man. It looks good to me. Andy saying, thanks, man. No problem. We have Gerald Martinez. Guy, I need help. Should I start Rashee Rice or Tank Dell at the flex? Let's look here. I just want to look at matchups in general. If you guys are just joining, make sure you leave a like. We are almost at 10 on the stream. I'm going to be doing another mock draft here in a moment. And make sure you subscribe and make sure you ask me any fantasy football related questions you have. You want to subscribe and hit that bell for post notifications. I'm going live a lot this year. I'll occasionally crank out a video, but it's really going to be quick YouTube shorts week by week and live as much as possible so I can help you guys out in real time. I need to go back and catch that question again. Rashee Rice or Tank Dell? I think Rashee Rice has less target competition, and he is going up against the Ravens, though. Tank Dell going up against the Colts, a secondary that was kind of middle of the pack at times last year. Tank Dell does have to compete with Nico Collins. Tank Dell does have to compete with Stephon Diggs. Rashee Rice, I know that Marquise Brown is doubtful, so I will probably go Rashee Rice there, my friend. Who was that? Yeah, Gerald, I'm going to go Rashee Rice. Jack Smith, rate my 10-man team. Jalen Hurts, absolutely love it. Devon Achane, we're betting on upside and availability. Kenneth Walker III, KW9. Steady the first couple years. Marvin Harrison Jr., we went with the prospect. A.J. Brown, Tyler Conklin, Rashee Rice. In a 10-man, Jack, I love everything. I do think you can upgrade significantly at tight end. Check the waiver wire. You could let me know right now who's a free agent, and maybe we can work on something there. Brian says, are you taking a flyer on Saquon? Hopefully a bounce-back year. I wonder if that takes away from Hurts and his goal line rushes. Brian, I do agree with that second statement, and with the first one, I am not taking a flyer on Saquon unless I really like the value because he's coming off an injury. He is in a new offense. Yes, he's behind a great offensive line, but a little worried there, a little tentative coming off the injury. I'm going to need a good value there. Jack, you sent me your team. Love everything. Just go after a better tight end, I would say. Thank you. I've got Mahomes too, so the stack. Love the stack, Gerald. Hopefully Mahomes can thrive against that Ravens defense. I'm a little worried with the difficulty of the matchup, but I think there's more opportunity for somebody like Rashee Rice with Marquise Brown listed as doubtful. Let's mock again, shall we? We'll go home. I'll switch my screen here. Thank you very much, Gerald. Hope you enjoyed. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Here to help. If I can find a standard, maybe I'll go there. Otherwise, I'm just going to go another 12-team PPR. Preferably at 305. Some of you guys have 10 teams, so maybe I'll do that. PPR mock salary cap. I don't want to do that. Expert. I'll jump in a standard for you guys. I know some of you guys are still playing standard, so we'll do that. So standard 12 here. Still stick with the experts here and 12-team format. Standard, I am looking for yards. I am looking for touchdown upside. I don't really care about the guys who are getting 10 receptions for 65 yards and no score. So now guys like, if they're healthy, Christian Watson, Tank Dell, they have more appeal to me. Jameson Williams. Jack says, these are the tight ends available. Juwan Johnson. We've got Munt, Okonkwo, Cade Otton, Parkinson, Taysom Hill, Hunter Henry, and Cole Kmet. I would say Cade Otton because you can make a pretty good argument, especially with Trey Palmer being questionable right now, that Cade Otton is the third. Oh, you've never played fantasy? No problem, man. Yeah, feel free to subscribe. I'm kind of going live as much as I can to help out people who are new, to help out people who have been in fantasy for 10 years like me, and so on and so forth. I research way too much to not at least try and do this stuff and help a few people out. I would go Cade Otton. We can do a little deep dive here. His prior involvement is pretty good. So if you're in a PPR league, Jack, which I'm assuming you are, point per reception, we want someone who is getting a decent amount of involvement. And Cade Otton, 67 targets, 65 targets, so we're looking at 66 a year. If we look at Tyler Conklin, I did not know he was a 5th-round pick. You know, he's seen an increase in... Actually, I don't hate you having Conklin, to be honest. He's had more targets. I would say Kmet, but now Kmet... A big thing we want to talk about, Jack, when looking at players is target competition. Like, what other really good players are on their team that are going to get targets and receptions and take points away? I love Cole Kmet, especially with how consistent he is. But now that he has to compete with Rome Odunze, a 1st-round pick this year, Keenan Allen, a 6-time Pro Bowler, and DJ Moore coming off a career year and a new quarterback, I don't love that. I would actually sit with Conklin, especially considering he had a 621-yard season without Aaron Rodgers. I would stick with that. So, in my mind, Conklin wasn't as good, but this is why we look stuff up and make sure that we don't just make empty claims. He does have Rodgers, and he's coming off a decent year. Yeah, Jack, I say we sit with Conklin for now, considering who's on the waivers. If you want to get creative later, sometimes Taysom Hill plays quarterback and gets some weird situations going where he can get you points. Otherwise, I like him more than Juwan Johnson. I like him more than Munt. I like him more than Okonkwo. I like him more than Otton right now. I like him more than Henry. I like him more than Kmet. Yeah, I would sit with Conklin, actually. Gerald said, this is my overall team. I had the 10th pick, Patrick Mahomes, Bijan Robinson, Raheem Mostert, A.J. Brown, Chris Olave, George Kittle, Tank Dell, Jake Moody, and the Jets defense. I love Mahomes. I love Bijan. Mostert worries me a little because of his age. I know he did have a great year. Love pick 7 that I'm at, by the way. Don't have to wait for that huge gap on the turn. A.J. Brown is phenomenal. Chris Olave is not in a great offense, but he did still manage to get a 1,000-yard season last year. And George Kittle, can't go wrong with him. Maybe we package Mostert with a bench guy and try and get someone more reliable, Gerald. But if it's just redraft, Mostert is probably going to be okay this year. Next couple of years, I'm really going to watch him. He's well north of 30. My bench is Scary Terry. Christian Kirk, I love. He's been a great value pick, especially with Gabe Davis being the only real other threat outside of Evan Ingram. JSN, J.K. Dobbins, and Curtis Samuel. Nice. Nice. Good team for you, Gerald. And Jamar, Jefferson, Taylor, Barkley. I kind of want Garrett Wilson at 18, but it's not going to happen. I'm taking Jamar with a healthy Joe Burrow. Not too hard. LSU boys probably going to go back-to-back. So this is standard. We don't care about those short route runners who are going to get 10 receptions for 55 yards. Running backs are valued a lot higher. So I will definitely be taking a running back in round 2 and likely round 3. I would love Isaiah Pacheco, considering he is also going to be involved as a pass catcher. So just from an all-purpose yards perspective, I think he's very attractive. More involved last year, 3 times the amount of targets. And that doesn't really matter, but this does. I mean, basically 1,200 yards last year and doesn't have a lot of competition. Yeah, I have Zamir White on my bench, but I have faith in Mostert. I don't blame you, man. 20 touchdowns in a season is scary. So I love it. I was down on Mostert going into last year because of his age, and he proved me wrong, and it was a blast to watch. So, yeah, you hold on to him, man. If you have belief in him, I am just here to kind of put research and information your way. It's up to you what decision you want to make. I never want to take someone's team and reconstruct it. I will make suggestions if you ask for them. Otherwise, I'm just going to give you context on what I see and make you more informed than your league mates. That's the whole goal, right? Out-research your opponent. I would love Pacheco, and I think I'm going to get him. Someone jumped for a running back, and it is standard. I might not get Pacheco. I cannot go 2 wide receivers in a row in standard. That is a recipe for disaster. So I took the best wide receiver available. Oh, come on. Pacheco would be good. I do need a backup plan. Running backs are still in a pretty good spot here. Etienne, when available, is fine. The touchdown upside is remarkable. A very heavily involved receiver, and no, we don't care about receptions, but we do care that he had 1,500 all-purpose yards. So I'm taking Pacheco or Etienne, whoever is available. And if they're both available, I'm definitely taking Pacheco. Slightly more efficient, less competition on a winning team. I'm taking Isaiah Pacheco here at 17. If you can get Pacheco back end of your second round in a 12-team format, please do it. Big buyer on him this year. We'll see how we do in this mock. Maybe I'll do one more PPR for those of you who didn't jump in right away. But I'm Corey. This is Armchair Fantasy Football. We are live streaming a few days a week, and we're especially hitting the ground running here in the beginning of the season. So if you have any questions at all, throw them in the live chat. I will answer them. I'm in a 12-team standard draft right now, so I had to go and get my running back in Pacheco. I am looking for output, not so much receptions. And with that being said, I'm probably going to jump at a quarterback here pretty soon. I'll see if Allen and or Hurts are available on the 3-4 turn, and I'll take them in 4. I want to get my good running back before we see a significant drop-off in production. If I can get White, Walker, or Cook, I'd be really happy because then we kind of drop off to guys like Kamara, who haven't been super available, Achane, who I love him. I love his explosiveness, but didn't play half the year. DeAndre Swift in a new environment, and he has to compete with Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson. And the fact that the Bears are probably going to try and rip the ball with a number 1 overall quarterback there. Those are my feelings on that. Gerald says, thank you, man. Appreciate it. No problem. No problem. I think, Gerald, is this your first time here? That looks like a new name, but it's been a while since I've gone live. Cap for Life says, mock draft, I want in. Nice to meet you, bro. Nice to meet you as well. I'm doing a random mock draft right now. If I had enough to invite, I would invite. We can do one pretty soon. Cap for Life, I will say, and anybody watching right now, we are doing a subscriber draft next week. I'm probably going to schedule it for Tuesday. Hit the link in the description to join our fantasy football league. It's a 12-team cap, and we have, I believe, 7 or 8 spots available right now. I am going to get either Kenneth Walker III or James Cook, which makes me very happy. Someone did jump at Hurts. Someone did jump at... No one jumped at Allen yet. I can definitely get Lamar. Kenneth Walker or James Cook. Because Buffalo is missing so many receivers from last year, I'm going to go James Cook. Get him involved. Now we're definitely due for either a wide receiver. If I can get Neighbors in the 4th, I might. Otherwise, I will take a rushing quarterback if one is still on the board. I don't want to jump for Lamar if I can get more value at wide receiver. If Laporta were to be available at 42, I'd be pretty tempted to get the best tight end in the game. He's kind of separating himself in a lot of projections right now. Would you do a 3 RB in the first 3 rounds in a 12 PPR or a 12-team PPR league? Cap for Life, no, I would not. Even if it was like CMC, Isaiah Pacheco, and then James Cook in the 3rd round. In point per reception, you have to get guys who are reeling in north of 80, 90, 100 receptions when they're on the board. So no, I would not do that. Double hero RB with, a couple running backs in the first 3. If you think the value's there, sure, but I would not do 3 in a row. First time in fantasy for Gerald. Yeah, man, feel free to subscribe, and I will be giving advice as much as possible. Again, not going to tell you what to do with your team. I am putting information in front of you so you can out-research your opponents and have a better chance to win. I like Shakir in the 9th or 10th. I would agree with that. Shakir and Keon Coleman kind of going around the same spot. My draft is Tuesday and Friday. Well, good luck to you. What format, Cap for Life? What format is your draft in? Ooh, we do have Sam Laporta. My rushing QBs are gone, so I am going to take... Devontae really fell to me, huh? Devontae's got less target competition, too. I'm going to take Laporta. Give me the best tight end in the game. I think I can still get a decent receiver on the back end. I don't want to fall all the way to Rashee Rice. If that happens, I'm going to regret what I just did. But QB, I still want rushing upside. Unless we got someone who can absolutely sling it, like it's CJ Stroud. Joe Burrow, injuries concern me. Same with Dak. Kyler would be interesting with a great wide receiver one in Marvin Harrison. I don't want to make Jaden Daniels my starting quarterback, so at that point, we're in backup territory. Kirk is a good backup quarterback. Kirk is a good one to wait back on in general. He's been going as like the QB 18. I've seen Waddle, McBride, and Stroud all getting taken between the 3rd through the 5th round. Not sold on McBride. He had one good year. I want to see a little more mileage on a tight end, a little more consistency, a little more of an established track record before I really start leaping at someone like that. When is Nick Chubb coming back? I'm seeing 4 weeks, but if it's into week 6 and the team is 1-5 for whatever reason, I don't know why they would play him. So it's probably kind of dependent on how good the Browns do. That's what I've been seeing. Rice around the 6th or 7th round. Rashee I've seen been going there as well. I'm not desperate to get a quarterback right now because I can wait on a lot of those guys. I got my tight end. If Mahomes is available late 5, maybe. But I need my wide receiver too, even in PPR. And this is where guys like Tank Dell, who had a really good yard per reception mark last year, come in handy. You want to get bang for your buck, right? You want yards, a lot of yards per reception. You want someone like Chris Godwin, who, again, 1,000-yard receiver. Michael Pittman Jr., quietly a great pick last year. Let's see. Kincaid is around the 6th. He's going to be a good one. Not a whole lot of target competition there either. Okay. Kind of got sniped off Patrick Mahomes. I did say if I can get someone who can sling it, I will. And I don't want to do the super late QB approach. So I'm actually going to take CJ Stroud here. This is a 12-team standard draft at the moment, by the way. So there is a reason I only have one wide receiver through 5 rounds. I'm not nuts. Still some decent running back value on the board. Would love Amari or Godwin as my 2, considering I'm waiting until the 6th round to get my wide receiver 2. I'd be pretty happy with that, I'm being honest. If I'm being honest. Stroud is good. I agree, man. I love CJ Stroud. I think phenomenal rookie year. I don't want to overreact too much. Put all my eggs in one basket, but Cap for life. Oh, you said 12-team PPR is your format. Romeo Doubs going in the 13th and 14th. All right, I see you. Yeah, I like Romeo. I was really waiting, along with a lot of the rest of the fantasy world, on where he was going to be declared as, in the depth chart for Green Bay. The whole storyline there was they don't have a wide receiver 1. Who is it going to be? He's the 50-50 guy. Watson's the vertical threat when healthy. Doubs, more consistent production. Reed kind of like out of a slot. Dontavion Wicks does a little bit of everything as well. He's a bigger body. Kirk Cousins is kind of just there as a reminder. Kyler was a late like security blanket should quarterbacks go off the board. And I needed someone to start. Kirk could be a backup if he falls to like round 12, 13 for me. I think I'm going to take Chris Godwin here. Deontay Johnson's in a horrible offense. I know he's going to get some output. I know the whole get a wide receiver one on a bad team mantra. I've been there, but that is a very, very poor offense right now. I'm going to need to see it to believe it. Chris Godwin, the younger of the two between he and Mike Evans. For the last 5 seasons, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver. Christian Kirk has been great value. I might be able to snipe him on the back end. I took him at, I think, 77. No, I took him at 87 a draft ago. Target shares for Green Bay are at 33% each receiver. Between those guys, it should be like that. But then you got to remember, dude, they've got Luke Musgrave. They've got Tucker Kraft. They've got Josh Jacobs, who has been known to be a relatively successful receiving back. They've got options, you know? Deontay going at 6.10. Okay. With that being said, they're all vertical threats. Yeah, Christian Watson, the greatest out of them. I would say Romeo Doubs, out of the ones that are available, is definitely up there. Get Dell. Yeah, if Tank Dell were to fall to me at 79 here, I would 100% take him. I do, especially because we're in a standard draft, and I don't think he's going to fall to me. I do need another running back. Devin Singletary, it should be his job in New York. He's coming off an awesome year. I mean, relative to expectations, the fact that Devin Singletary was top 30 last year was marvelous. Almost 1,200 yards of production. Would have liked to see more touchdowns, but he's 5'7". You're not going to see him be a red zone back, right? Like, for as inefficient as Dameon Pierce was last year, he was more of a bruiser. Singletary's off the board. Zeke back in Dallas. Interesting. Okay, Tank fell to me. I have to take talent like that. Again, we're talking about someone who's going to get you more bang for your buck. Chase Brown, I love Dynasty, by the way. In limited playing time. He had 14 receptions for 156 yards. Joe Mixon is out, so we have a greater piece of that touch or reception or carry pie, the usage pie, if you will, going to Chase Brown. He is extremely young, and he's fighting with Zach Moss right now, who, judging by the investment level that the Bengals considered him at, I don't see him as just running away with that competition. I do think there is a lot of opportunity for Chase Brown this year, and the projections agree. He could be a 900-yard all-purpose guy, and he's still going outside the top 100, especially in standard. Great prospect out of Illinois. Lots of opportunity with Mixon out, and they're not really being a clear number one. And you don't see a lot of bell cow running backs anyway, but at least now in 2024. But I think he has a lot of opportunity in Dynasty. Like betting on someone for the next 5 years, Chase Brown. Wide open competition. And a team in the Bengals, who you could argue this about everybody in the AFC North, could win 10, 11 games and end up running the clock down in the fourth quarter, giving guys like Chase Brown, especially in a standard format, a lot of opportunity. Like Musgrave a lot. You get good value at receiver. Oh, yeah. Stacking Dell with Stroud in this mock. I like Benson from Arizona and Wright from Miami. Musgrave a lot, but he's always hurt. Yeah, I mean, availability's been an issue in general with that team. Can you please rate my team, says Tone Bear. Absolutely. Love the profile picture. We have Kyler under center. Christian McCaffrey, so I'm going to guess you had the 101 or the 102. Kyren Williams, who won me a lot of games last year, was a great value pick. Obviously, the price went up for him. Stacking him with Puka, Drake London, and that brand new offense led by Kirk Cousins. Number 1 tight end in Sam Laporta, Chris Olave, Rashee Rice on the bench, along with Jalen Waddle, Zamir White, Brooks, Jalen Warren, and Jerome Ford. That is an A, maybe A- Tone Bear. I love it. I absolutely love it. Puka, London, Waddle. I think that's a good 1, 2, 3. None of those guys are first rounders, but that's completely fine. You got CMC, who gets a lot of touches. We'll just go with Kirk. I'll just take another really, really good quarterback. And I kind of want to use him as trade bait going forward. If Keon falls to me, I'll take him with the lack of target competition. I wasn't too eager to take Tyjae Spears. He is going to be competing with Tony Pollard. And yeah, not a huge projection for his usage to go up. I'm really tossed between the Cincinnati running backs. I think I'll stay away from that one. Every time Dell scores, Stroud scores. Yeah. Does Singletary have competition in New York? I do think it's his backfield. Waddle on your bench is a flex move. Good receivers, bro. Yeah, I mean, that's a great wide receiving room. You still have CMC. You've got the best tight end in the game in Sam Laporta. Even in a 10 team, a little smaller than a 12, that's a great team. Yeah, I agree. Cap for life. I am going with Zach Moss now, but don't be shocked if it is Chase Brown's job by the end of the season. I don't think Zach Moss, especially, they didn't throw a lot of money at him. You know, he's not too established. He's kind of bounced around the league. I don't think that he's going to be getting like 70 to 80% of the touches. That has never been who he is. Even when he was in line to be the starter, he's never been a 20, 25 touch per game guy. And there is more pass catching upside. Again, this is standard with Chase Brown, but still something to look at. I do need another back. I'm going to stay away from the Cincinnati backs as early as round 9. I'm not that confident in him being good right away. I'll go Jaylen Warren, the more efficient of the two backs in Pittsburgh. Najee Harris, still that bruiser, kind of a touchdown merchant, but Warren efficient nonetheless. Do not like Jameson Williams here. Again, I think that is a crazy projection for someone who hasn't played a full season yet. I would much rather have somebody like Khalil Shakir with a lot of opportunity and not a whole lot of target competition. But we shall see. Was surprised about getting Puka in the second, especially at pick 19. So you got him back half of the second. Right, because you took CMC 101, or you took CMC 102. Speaking of Green Bay, what are your thoughts on Josh Jacobs? I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a lot of touches this year with A.J. Dillon being out. If Green Bay makes a move in the next few days, maybe I have a different opinion on that. But right now it is Emmanuel Wilson and the rookie out of USC, Marshawn Lloyd. So I think Josh Jacobs could be top 10 pretty easily. In PPR, he could be top 7, 8 if they use him more as a pass catcher. So many options on that team, though. Again, Dobbs, Reed, Watson, Wicks, Musgrave, Kraft. Tone Bear says Olave and Waddle both fell to the 4th and early 5th rounds. The draft was messed up. Hey, man, you got to capitalize, especially on some of those home leagues. Cameron says, sorry if you're not doing this, but could I throw in my team for your rating? Cameron, I absolutely am doing this, man. Yeah, throw it in. Let me know what the format is. So PPR, half PPR, standard, and then how many teams? Perfect, you got it. Cap for life, what you got? Yeah, I'm going to say Josh Jacobs is like running back 9 or 10. The usage has to be there with Dillon being out. Oh, what you got, Cameron? 9th pick in the draft, we went Jamar Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, Patrick Mahomes, Dalton Kincaid, Deontay Johnson, Rome Odunze, Xavier Worthy, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Hopkins, Chuba Hubbard, Jameson Williams. 1 second, sir. We were going to go with another weapon here unless I see more value at running back, which I'm staying away from J.K. Dobbins. He's lost a lot of steps, lots of injuries. I don't love what's here, but Tyler Lockett's the most consistent out of the bunch, most reliable. It's hardly missed any games. All right, Cameron. So Mahomes is our quarterback. Gibbs and Jacobs in the backfield. Out wide, we have Jamar, Odunze, Deontay Johnson, Xavier Worthy. We also have Pollard in the backfield, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm assuming we're in the bench now. Chuba, Jameson Williams. I love it. If I were to say strong, like strong suit of your team. I'm going to go backfield. Gibbs, Jacobs, Pollard. Pretty nasty 1, 2, 3. You've even got Chuba. Chase, Deontay, Adunze, Worthy, Hopkins. I think you could go after a wide receiver too and maybe take somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, combine him with Xavier Worthy or Rome Odunze or Deontay Johnson and really like hit a home run, go after a top 3 round guy. You could go after a Stephon Diggs if you wanted to. If you took Rome Odunze and Xavier Worthy, you should easily be able to get Stephon Diggs. And then some. So I would say go after a wide receiver too if you're looking for that type of approach. Again, I'm not going to restructure your team. I like it overall, but I would say strength, obviously, quarterback, and your backfield is awesome. 2nd through the 5th is nice, Cameron. Chase might not play week 1, but if he does, you've got 1 through 5 solid. Obviously, love Patrick Mahomes. He's able to make lemonade out of literally anything. So, a fun one to watch there. Sneaky stack with Xavier Worthy if you do want to keep him. He ran a 4.21 at the combine. Absolutely crazy. I like it. Again, folks, I am Corey. This is Armchair Fantasy Football. Doing a 12-team standard draft now. If you have any questions at all, I will gladly answer. Just kind of taking you through my thought process here. And really, I've just been answering a lot of questions lately, so less of the thought process this time around. I can kind of dive back into that. Blake Corum is going to be behind Kyren Williams, obviously coming off that championship run. Demario Douglas is arguably the wide receiver 1 on a losing team. They're going to throw the ball a decent amount if you're a Drake May believer. Can you get the ball to him effectively? I think that could be a nice value pick here at 138. Gabe Davis doesn't have a lot of competition at all. I think I would take him over Demario right now, especially in a standard format because of this. Bang for your buck, 16.6 yards per reception. I would definitely do that. And you got to remember, Gabe Davis is competing with Christian Kirk, but from a target competition perspective, the Jaguars lost Calvin Ridley. He is in Tennessee, and they lost Zay Jones. I believe he is in Arizona. Yep. Gabe Davis, great pick here if I can get him. Cap for Life says, not a big fan of the Carolina running back situation either. I have been hurt too many times by Chuba. Chuba, Miles Sanders, and Cap for Life, I want you to think about this, okay? And anybody taking a running back in Carolina or Arizona, James Conner is very good, but if you have an uncertain running back situation on a losing team, teams that are down 14, 21, even 7 points in the fourth quarter are not running the football. They are trying to preserve the clock. They're throwing to the sidelines. If it's incomplete, the clock stops anyway. So running backs on bad teams, not my favorite approach. Gabe Davis, I got sniped, so I'll take Demario Douglas. Yeah. Cameron says, thanks, fellas. Really appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. To any new names here, ask me any of your fantasy football questions. I will gladly answer. I appreciate all of you jumping in here. We have 11 likes, and we do have a fantasy football league among subscribers. I'm going to do a 12 or 14 teamer. Go in the description right now. There is a link. Join, and we'll have more information. I do have a Discord as well I can drop the link to. Yeah, the sneaky stack with Xavier Worthy is honestly not going to be too sneaky in a few weeks if he ends up being any good, because target competition, not a whole lot of it there. Been a minute since I went with running back. We'll see what kind of value there is. Antonio Gibson, I think he's taken a step back just because Ramondre is kind of an all-purpose back. I'm going to go Marshawn Lloyd. Call it what you want, but with A.J. Dillon being out for the season, I think that is a fine investment. And we're so deep into the bench right now, I really don't care. All right. We will be going live tomorrow on Labor Day, probably around the same time, 2 p.m. Central. I did get on a little bit today, so my apologies there. We'll be drafting some more, answering more of your questions. Maybe I'll go for deeper leagues like 14, 16, and then I'll spice it up and go like 8 or 10 team. Yeah. What do you guys think about the Browns defense? Well, when you have a game wrecker in Myles Garrett, I think sacks are always going to get you points. He usually has a handful of forced fumbles or fumble recoveries in there. The secondary has seen a little bit of turnover, but I like the situation. All of you guys have just helped me solve my draft worries past the 8th round. I'm going to stack with my quarterback and handcuff if late in the draft. If possible, late in the draft. I don't hate that at all. Again, if somebody like Xavier Worthy is available late, or even Rashee Rice falls, I think that's completely fine. If you have a super sneaky pick, like let's say, I'll go Ravens here. Darnell Mooney falls to like this, I don't know, the 15th or 16th round, and you wanted to put him with Kirk Cousins because you waited more on your quarterback too. You can handcuff as well. Now, that's not going to work a whole lot if you do have like a situation in Cincinnati going on where it's Chase Brown and Zach Moss fighting. But, right, let's say you take Josh Jacobs in round 4, just making this up, and then Marshawn Lloyd is available in round 14. Maybe you do handcuff, especially because there's nobody separating them anymore unless Emmanuel Wilson jumps. I think that's a great opportunity. We do need a kicker. Chicago should be driving between the 20s a lot this year. Lots of investment in that offense. So, yeah, I like the Browns defense. I like the handcuff one a lot, especially if you have a decisive number 1 for the most part. But you know, especially with how much running backs are used and get hit and how disposable they can be, yeah, there's a guy who could take over for him. Okay, in Dynasty, I am jumping all over Chase Brown. Younger than Zach Moss, wide open competition with Joe Mixon out, and a winning football program for the foreseeable future. We'll go one more skill position here. I have 4 backs. Maybe I will do a handcuff here and go Ray Davis behind James Cook, just to kind of simulate what that would look like. CEH has not been efficient for a while. This was an investment in the draft. Give me Ray Davis. Dontavion Wicks is in an offense that, again, Romeo Doubs is technically the wide receiver 1, but Jordan Love spread the ball out a lot last year. Part of the reason they paid him so much, able to utilize all of his weapons when he doesn't exactly have a declared primary weapon. Now, this is impressive stuff, right? That's rushing. 3 guys over 500. 6 guys over 300 receiving yards. 9 guys over 200 receiving yards. Like, he used everyone. We'll go with your handcuff idea there, Cap for life. And that is our team. Took Jamar, Isaiah back half of the second. Love that approach. James Cook. Again, this was standard, but I do believe he'll get a lot of usage in general with Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs leaving the nest. Laporta fell to me in the 4th round. I'll take it. I'll take the best tight end in the game. Got someone who can chuck it in Stroud. He was kind of my security blanket with all the rushing upside guys off the board. Godwin for the last 5 seasons, at least 1,000 yards. Vertical threat in Tank Dell. Great backup pick in Kirk Cousins. Might have jumped for him. Definitely did jump for him. Good yards per carry guy in Jaylen Warren. Lockett, Mr. Consistent, even though he's older. Plenty of target competition leaving Buffalo before Khalil Shakir presumably takes over as the wide receiver 1 alongside Keon Coleman, kind of fighting for that spot. Demario Douglas, prominent wide receiver on a losing football team that should throw a lot. Marshawn Lloyd could be competing for that RB2 spot. Would be a great handcuff if I had Josh Jacobs. Ravens defense speaks for itself the last 5 years. Cairo Santos, kicker on a team that should be driving between the 20s a decent amount. Ray Davis was my handcuff for James Cook. Brad McCoy is here. Redraft. Would you trade Alvin Kamara and Scary Terry for Zamir White and Devonta Smith? So if we look at this straight up, Zamir White, more of a long-term play. This is redraft. Devonta Smith, the secondary option. Terry McLaurin has a lot of competition. I feel like the drop-off from Kamara to White isn't that much because Kamara hasn't been very available, has had various suspensions, injuries, so on and so forth. And you are definitely upgrading with Smith over McLaurin. Brad, that's a close but fair deal. I would take it. I would take it. We're going to mock draft one more time. I'm going to go back to PPR. I feel like that is more commonly used. Again, folks, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, but most importantly, comment in the live chat any fantasy football questions you may have as I look for one more mock draft here, and then I'll jump off. I will be streaming again tomorrow. Link in the description to a fantasy football league among subscribers here. Cap for life, who would you be taking in the second round? Rachaad White or Josh Jacobs? I'm going to go Josh Jacobs with Dillon being down, pass catching back in PPR. Not a declared wide receiver one, even though Romeo Doubs is the wide receiver one, but not clear cut away from everybody else. I think Jacobs, especially with the lack of depth at running back, at least right now, unless the Packers go out and get a free agent like a Jerick McKinnon, I think that I'm going to go Jacobs over Rachaad White at the moment. I know he had a rough year last year efficiency-wise, but I like him. I like the situation he's in. Lots of opportunity. See what's going on here. We are buffering here, at least for a moment. Folks, I do have a free Discord as well. If you guys want to join that, I will throw that in the chat in just a moment. That's more just to spur conversation, get that kind of going on. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me in a live fashion when I am not live streaming. I am on there pretty often during the season, which is underway. Terry is the number one receiver, right? So I just dropped that link in the live chat. Yeah, Scary Terry, technically the number one receiver. I know they dealt Jahan Dotson. I believe in the depth chart, he is the number one. I'll triple check for you. Couple of traits to look for in these players before we go into our third and final mock draft of the day. Availability, opportunity, and productivity. Availability, are they healthy? Opportunity, are they getting targets and or touches depending on the position? Kind of talking about wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs here. And then and then productivity, what are they doing with the targets and or touches from a running back perspective? What does their yards per carry look like? From a wide receiver perspective, are they getting in the end zone? Decent amount of yards per reception. So yeah, keep those things in mind. Kind of a mouthful, but availability, opportunity, and productivity, great aspects to keep in mind. Different wide receiving core this year, right? So McLaurin the same, but now they have Zacchaeus from Atlanta, and then Noah Brown coming over from Houston. Zach Ertz, the tight end as well. This is likely a final ride for him, at least I would think. Let's see. Looking for a 12-teamer. Head-to-head points. Head-to-head points, PPR. Yep, there we go. We'll do a 12-team PPR. A little bit of time on that. Yes, sir. One more mock draft. Any guesses on what pick I will be? Oh, wait. The order is determined. 9. Don't love that. Not going to lie. 9 and 10 kind of suck because you don't get first pick. I got asked this earlier. What's the worst pick in fantasy? You don't get dibs, and there's going to be, in this case, a 16-pick gap between picks for me in an alternating form. 60% of you have done your drafts already. All right. You're just joining. My name's Corey. This is Armchair Fantasy Football. We are doing a third mock draft here. We're about 2 hours into our stream. We're on expert mode. It is 12-team PPR. If you have any questions relating to fantasy football, I am here to help. So yes, one more mock draft. I am here to help. Ask, as the graphic says, all of your fantasy football questions. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you go in the live chat and ask me anything. This is the last draft of the day. Will be live streaming tomorrow around the same time, early afternoon. We have the Discord in the chat. We have in the description a link to a subscriber fantasy football draft if you guys want to get in on that. We can interact throughout the season. You can take me head on. Fun opportunities there. But right now you can just jump into my headspace. I'm really going to focus on this one and kind of show you what goes through the mind of yours truly in a 12-team standard PPR. We've kind of gotten screwed by picks. 9 is not ideal, but that's okay. All right, drafting in 42 seconds. We are back end of 1. I have kind of been shooting for Jamar. He's been falling to me. I do not love Saquon, especially in PP. Well, in general, just the availability. I'm kind of avoiding Taylor and Barkley. I should be able to get better. Jefferson would be ideal, even though he does have Sam Darnold. We're likely going to have that archetype where the not-so-great quarterback on a not-so-great team relies on the wide receiver 1. Edward's in here. How's it going, man? How are you? Awesome to see you, Edward. If you have any questions for me, I am doing a third and final mock draft on expert level, 12-team standard PPR, taking you through my headspace here. All right, Jamar and Jetta. I'm going Jamar. I would love, wow, Breece Hall, 1.01. Would love if Amon-Ra fell to me, but I doubt that happens. And then we're going to have a pretty quick turnaround, so I do want to plan. No quarterbacks have really been going top 2 rounds. I've seen Josh Allen go as early as late 2 last year. And again, he was the QB1, but he's kind of fallen. I have been able to get Isaiah in the second round, and I'm going to have front half of second this time. Isaiah Pacheco, again, on a winning team, not a whole lot of target competition, utilized more as a pass catcher last year. And again, if you're on a winning team, you're going to run the ball final quarter or 2 to run down the clock. So always a good format to follow there. Yeah, Edward, how are you doing, man? I know it's been a while. I will be live streaming again tomorrow, so 2 days in a row after quite the hiatus in the offseason. A lot more live streams if you guys have been on this channel before. If not, I'll just explain. This channel going to be a lot of live streams so that I can help you out in a live capacity. There will be the occasional video. YouTube Shorts is mostly how I will be communicating with you as well in terms of just players to watch on a week-by-week basis. Injury notes, we'll be treating those kind of like breaking news, that type of thing. But definitely watch out for the live streams on a pretty routine basis. Could Amon-Ra fall to me? No, I got sniped. We'll go Justin Jefferson at number 9. Discord is in the comment section, or excuse me, the live chat. I dropped that in there. Free Discord. You can ask me questions at any time. So please, please, please use that. I just threw it in the chat again. And then if you go in the link in the description, we are doing a subscriber fantasy football league. More information to come. We're going to do 10, 12, maybe 14 teams. A handful of spots still available. Join that, and we will go into more detail later. All right. Pacheco should fall into my lap at 16, but if he doesn't, we do have to have a backup plan. I don't like going 0 RB because of the stark drop-off between rounds 2 and 3 and the rest. That was actually brought up before. Marv could be interesting if I could get him. I won't get him. Back end of 3. Let's see here. Wouldn't mind Kyron. I don't see Blake Corum as an immediate threat. What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? I see a few more of you popping in here. I'm Corey. This is Armchair Fantasy Football. We're doing our third straight mock draft here. Expert level, 12-team PPR. Cap for Life is in the Discord. Awesome. Edward said it's been too long waiting for this NFL season. This last gap, ever since February and the Super Bowl, has been brutal. So I agree with you. Edward saying, got the fourth pick in a 10-man PPR. My plan was Breece, Kyren, then Achane, or Breece, Etienne, and Kupp. Which one would you rather have? I would go Breece, Kyren, and then Achane and Kupp are both kind of injury risks. If you could get a Devontae in that range as well, because I've been seeing him fall, maybe you go Breece, Kyren, Kupp. But I do like Kyren and Etienne are pretty much the same. I would actually fix the third option if you're looking for advice on that front. Nice to see you again, Cap. Yeah, good to see all you guys. We're going to go, because of the increased pass catching involvement and the lack of target competition, I'm going to go Isaiah Pacheco. And I might go back-to-back here if somebody like James Cook falls to me, but I do want to look at the value here. Oh! Puka Nacua was still on the board. All right, that's on me. That's why we mock. If I did this in a real league, I'd be in shambles. Oh. Wow. That's a miss. Let's make it clear. You grab Puka in that spot every day of the week. Back end of round 2 to go Jefferson and Puka. I would have had no problem taking my first running back in the 3rd round. Wow. Probably still could have got James Cook or Josh Jacobs. I mean, the Pacheco pick is fine, but... Oh, that makes me sick. If he falls to the 3rd round, I will be baffled. Oh. That was not ideal. I kind of reached. I didn't reach, but I took QB in the first few rounds, got Josh Allen, and then the second time I came around and got CJ Stroud, I want to say around 5 or 6. We'll see what's in the cards here. I want to take a couple different approaches just to kind of show you guys. I did lunge after Laporta the second time, and I believe I got him in the 3rd round. No, I got him in the 4th round. And then the first time around, I waited way back. Evan Ingram is going to be going pretty early as well. I might go in between and aim for Evan Ingram in round 5. That would give me another pass catcher, so maybe I'll double up and go Pacheco Cook. Pacheco over Kyren and Jameer. Jameer's availability and the fact they don't use him a ton in Detroit, Edward, shakes me a bit. Pacheco over Kyren, that's a valid argument. I'll take either of those guys. I think Pacheco gets increased involvement this year, though, due to the fact that Patrick Mahomes, outside of Travis Kelce and Marquise Brown, who is not available in week 1, likely, he's listed as doubtful, is going to be throwing a lot more dump-off passes to him. Isaiah Pacheco, I'm taking over Kyren in Dynasty every day of the week. In redraft, you might have an argument there. Okay. If Drake London falls to me, I'm definitely taking him in that brand new offense under Kirk Cousins. That's a big if. Puka went end of 2. Who is Pacheco's backup? I believe it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire still. There goes London. London. Yeah, it's CEH and then Samaje Perine. I'm going to stack up on running back here. James Cook is in a similar situation to Isaiah Pacheco. I would argue a better one now because he's at a better jump because Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs both leaving, and James Cook, a pretty decent pass catcher out of the backfield. It's going to be Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, James Cook, Dalton Kincaid. That is the Bills' offense in 2024. Now, I could jump at quarterback. I could jump at the number 1 tight end. I could jump at... Yeah, I mean, if I can get Josh Allen at 40, I wouldn't be very mad. But I also only would have 1 pass catcher through 4. So that almost makes me think I either go elite tight end or I get a fringe top 10, top 12 wide receiver. But then I have to wait a long while. So if I don't get Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts here, I'm definitely going to have to settle for a non-running quarterback. Josh Allen has less weapons, so I'm actually going to take Hurts over him if he does fall to me here. Or would I take a receiver? I think I need another pass catcher. If I took Puka, end of 2, I'd probably be going Jalen Hurts here with the rushing upside and still a decent amount of weapons. But because I'm not, I'm going to have to take a pass catcher because I shot myself in the foot. Decent amount of target competition for both of these guys. Could go elite tight end, and then you kind of have to wait around, and I could still get like a Chris Godwin for my 2. I think we'll do that. I'll go Laporta again and make a splash. Again, just kind of trying to show you guys different approaches you can take. I went elite tight end there because I do need another pass catcher. It is PPR. I don't want to have 1 pass catcher through the first 4 rounds. If I would have taken Puka, I would have had Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua. James Cook would have still been there in 3, and then I would have had another running back probably available in 5, and I could have gone elite quarterback. The Roll FF says, what do I do with all these QBs in a 8-man 2 QB league? We've got Caleb, Prescott, Daniels, May, Penix, McCarthy. I would like 1 pocket passer who's going to get you touchdowns through the air and 1 guy who's going to kind of move the needle on the ground. If you wanted to pick between Caleb and Prescott and then make Daniels your QB2 because he's going to have the rushing upside, has a variety of weapons with Scary Terry, Zacchaeus, and a couple of others, I'd be okay with that. So pick between Caleb and Prescott. I think Prescott's the safer option right now, and Daniels, and then, yeah, you can have one of those other guys as a backup. I get it. Jahmyr is just so electric to watch. I'm a big Jahmyr Gibbs fan. I just need to see more usage. They've got the lightning and thunder dynamic going on. David Montgomery's been stealing a lot of touchdowns. The Roll FF says, I have a solid roster. I would say best in the league, so I don't need to force a trade. Thinking of just holding these quarterbacks until they increase in value. If you're going to go with that, then that's completely fine, and you can use them for trade leverage back end of the season. That is completely fine. Oh, it's Dynasty. All right, then I like the rookie heavy. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Ali Muhammad says, Keeper League, option 1, Hall in R3, and lose him next year. Option 2, Laporta in R10 for 2 years. It's half PPR standard. We don't really know what the Jets are going to look like in a couple years, especially with Aaron Rodgers being north of 40. Are they going to be ahead in a lot of ball games even this upcoming year? Laporta is so elite, even with a decent amount of target competition last year with guys like Josh Reynolds, Jameson Williams, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown. I would go elite tight end as much as it kills me. Those are 2 great cornerstones. I'd probably go elite tight end in Laporta. Usually, Ali, when I think of Dynasty, I am thinking next 5 years. And the fact of the matter is, Breece Hall does have a couple injuries on his record, and running backs are a lot more disposable than an elite tight end like Sam Laporta. I think in 5 years, Sam Laporta will be thriving still. I think in 5 years, Breece Hall is going to be hanging on to the edge of his prime if he's still in it. So yeah, we'll go with that. Once running backs hit 27, it's kind of like, I don't know, you know? Edwards says, are you going to release any rankings and tiers? I might do some in a live capacity, but the videos are going to be pretty seldom, I'll be honest. Work has been nuts. I'm coming up on a year since, and I call a lot of like prep high school football games, and then I am also a play-by-play broadcaster for a Division I university, UW Green Bay, University of Wisconsin Green Bay, the Phoenix. So even my weekends are crazy on top of, managing a fantasy football channel. So I need another pass catcher here. Better offense. I'm going to go with Godwin over someone like Ridley. We don't know a ton about Will Levis. So Edward, unfortunately, not a ton. I will probably throw some things in the Discord. So Edward, I don't know if you're in the Discord chat or not. It is thrown. The link to the Discord is thrown in the live chat. I'll do rankings there, and I'll kind of break the ice on who would I take between this person and this person this week. And I'll still be doing kind of the same research, but the rankings are going to be tough. Yeah, I won't be doing a ton of videos. I would much rather do live stuff. Maybe I'll rank live, but I'm going to be doing a lot of live streams because those are just easier for me than spending hours and hours on editing. I would rather spend hours and hours on a live stream giving you guys advice as opposed to giving you guys advice in the form of a 10-minute video and then responding to comments and not getting back to you in time. I think live streams are a better use of your time and mine. So if I do rankings, they will be on live streams. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Ooh, Stroud available in the 6th round. Running back value has dropped off. I'm going to go deep on wide receiver here and sit around late for someone like a Kirk Cousins in round 10 or 11. I'm in the general section of Discord. Is that where you guys are right now? I'm new. Yeah, if there's any announcements, like live streams or videos or things coming out, I'll throw those in there. I have merch as well if you guys want to look at that. General is kind of just everything. Just random talking. I think there's a trade proposal tab. There's random research that I'll put in the Corey's research tab. General is where the majority of our conversations live. And then, sorry, I have to go back up here. The Roll FF says, I traded Watson, which at this point I have no idea if he would actually make my roster. So I traded Watson for Ramondre Stevenson because I needed a flex while Odunze develops. Watson for Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, I mean, Stevenson's a tough one. Running backs on not great teams, I usually wouldn't go with. For example, well, I don't want to say they're a not great team, but the Bengals in the AFC North have a lot of competition. Chase Brown and Zach Moss, I would take Chase Brown in a dynasty format because of his pass-catching upside. He's younger than Zach Moss, and Joe Mixon's gone. Ramondre I kind of like because of the pass-catching upside and because of the fact it is his backfield. Not really competing with anybody. So I like that. Especially the Roll FF, I'm assuming this is a redraft format. Drake May, a rookie quarterback, likely going to try and utilize some checkdowns early on. Ramondre has been very reliable, so I'm fine with that. Can't keep the same keeper for more than 2 years. It is a weird format. Okay, between Breece and Laporta for the next 2 years, I would probably go Breece. Because we know, as long as he's healthy, we have A-Rod this year, maybe next year, or they go after somebody in free agency. He is a checkdown merchant galore when he's healthy. I would take the jump on Breece. I have not seen one draft yet where Stroud falls to the 6th round. Yeah. Him getting picked mid-6, I was thinking about it. I don't need to take Kirk Cousins yet. Not too eager to take... Najee at 78 is interesting. He was actually relatively efficient last year. I'm going to take the value at Christian Kirk, and I'm good on wide receivers for a while. I feel like Jefferson, Godwin, Cooper, and Kirk makes me relatively invincible. They all have different bye weeks, so I don't have to worry about running backs or wide receivers for a while. If Warren is still here. Oh, I love getting sniped. This isn't that much of a reach. He won't be there in the next round. Singletary, very efficient last year. Different scenery. Shouldn't really be competing for touches. Ali Muhammad said, so basically I'll have Hall as my R3 pick this year. Next year I will have to choose another keeper for the next 2 years. If I choose Laporta, I'll lose the round 10 pick, but I'll have him this year and next. Oh. I would take the elite tight end and then you lose just the 10th round pick. Yeah, I would go Laporta. You've got a decent separation from the field. Tight end market's kind of thin after the first few. Oh no, Ravens says the guy declined my offer. Ravens, can you catch me up on what the offer was again? And then I'll just give me your team, his team, and then I'll hopefully give you another option here. Again, guys, my name is Corey. This is Armchair Fantasy Football. If you have any questions at all, pop those in the live chat right now, and I'll get to them. Otherwise, thank you for joining. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. I will be live streaming on Labor Day tomorrow. Around the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll do some more mock drafts. Kind of just taking you through my thought process here. Taking you through my thought process as I go into a 12-team expert tier PPR mock draft. Yeah, Ravens, if you could let me know what the trade was, what the teams are. I apologize. I can try and scroll up here. He wants Keon Coleman. I remember that. So I think I told you to get Higgins and someone on the bench. Did I say Higgins and Bowers for Coleman and Singletary? It was something like that. He said he doesn't like Palmer or the Chargers this year. Bowers will probably produce the same as Coleman, and Higgins can be wide receiver 1 if Chase continues to hold out or get injured. Okay. Ravens, can you join the Discord? I'll throw it in the chat here, and then you can just send me pictures in the chat. You can DM me, and we'll go there. It was Coleman and Palmer for Higgins and Bowers. Okay. Yeah. Ravens, I'm going to have you join the Discord, and then you can just private message me, and we'll kind of dice this up together. Because I don't want to rush it, and I don't want you to keep throwing deals at this guy if he doesn't like the approach we're taking. I'm going to let Kirk sit one more round. I don't really like the running. I know I said I was done on receivers, but I could take a flyer on Nick Chubb. Perfect. Yeah, Ravens, let's just talk it over. I'll be off this stream in a bit. This is the third and final mock draft. I'm out of water. I'm going to load up on tight end here. And then I'll take Kirk. If I get sniped off Kirk, I'll go Caleb. Doesn't have to be great this year. Just has to be decent with the amount of weapons he has around him. He'll put up numbers. 53% of you have drafted. So 47% haven't yet. Wow. And we've got 4 days till the season starts. I'm going to throw another link in the chat here while I've got a few of you watching. We do have a a subscriber fantasy football draft coming up. Let's see how many are here. Oh, yeah, we've still got plenty of space. So this is a subscriber draft. If you guys want to join, information on other things related to that going forward, that's in the chat as well. I am Corey Sparks on Discord. Yep. So you should be able to find me. It's going to be the armchair icon for my username. I will work that out with you as soon as this is done here. Kirk is off the board. So we'll go Caleb. That kind of sucks, but that's okay. We really sold out on wide receivers, so. I might go handcuff on the back end here, if it makes sense to do so. Which I don't think it does. Let's get our quarterback. Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, pass catching back, and DeAndre Swift. Makes a lot of sense. Not really in a spot to stack at the moment. I'm going to go defense here. Might be around late, but if I can get a defense that just wreaks havoc and causes a lot of turnovers like the Cowboys, I'll be pretty happy. Not going to lie. Again, folks, I am Corey. This is Armchair Fantasy Football. We'll be live streaming again tomorrow, doing a third and final mock draft right now. If you have any fantasy football questions at all, I have dropped the free Discord in the live chat, and I am also accepting them right now. So ask me anything in the next couple minutes here. We just have a couple of rounds to go. Maybe I'll go on Sleeper tomorrow. But yeah, here to answer your questions. Couple of likes away from 15 on this live stream as well. That would be awesome if you guys could leave a like. Helps the channel out a ton, helps us grow, helps us help more people. We are here to help you out-research your fantasy opponent. Not going to tell you what to do with your team. I'll provide suggestions. That sucks. We'll go Ravens. But I will equip you with enough information to make some educated decisions, put you in a spot to take down your league mates. I'm going to go wide receiver. It has been a little bit. Dobbs, I've said it before. If he falls to me and it makes sense, I'll take him. He is technically the wide receiver one for Green Bay. Dominic's here. How's it going, man? Hey, man, just finished my 12-man PPR draft. Team is Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle, Rashee Rice, Trey McBride, George Pickens. Also have Najee Harris and Brian Thomas on the bench. Any advice on how to improve it? Okay, so 12-man PPR. We've got Saquon and Jonathan Taylor, Waddle, Rice, McBride, Pickens. I would maybe swing for a better wide receiver, like a home run player, if you will, because Waddle is still competing with Hill in a redraft league. You want to keep that in mind. If we could go Rashee Rice and Najee Harris, and maybe go out and get like a Chris Godwin or Mike Evans, a guy with a 1,000-yard track record to support Jalen Waddle, I like that a lot, I like that a lot, because we also build depth if we can keep Waddle and get someone just as good, if not better than him. Yeah. So go bench piece and Rice and see if you can get an upgrade. That would be my one suggestion. Solid team, though. Baker as a backup, honestly, not bad. One of the most overhated quarterbacks. I mean, I know he's had his struggles, but and kickers are going to drop like flies here. I'll take Younghoe Koo. Improved offense, good range. Hello. In the ESPN league. Is that the same league we're talking about on Discord? It is. Yes. Cap for life. You got it. All right. We went Jefferson at 9. Pacheco on the back end. Probably should have taken Puka, considering he was still available. Went James Cook, so double hero RB approach, kind of impromptu, if you will, because I wasn't expecting to make that big of a mistake. Got our elite tight end at number 4, or round 4, in Sam Laporta. Consistency and Chris Godwin, one of my favorite picks this year if you just want a high basement guy, meaning someone who's not going to let you down a whole lot. Amari Cooper, the wide receiver 1. Don't love that offense, but he was available in round 6. Christian Kirk doesn't have to compete with Calvin Ridley or Zay Jones, just Gabe Davis. Not as many target competitions, not as much target competition. Devin Singletary, the main guy over in New York. Nick Chubb, we're hoping he comes back by week 5. Brock Bowers, elite level tight end, might use him for some trade leverage. We went late quarterback approach, like super late. Just tried to throw some different looks at you guys. And Caleb Williams, Bucky Irving, we're essentially betting that he gets more opportunity than he has at the moment, with Rachaad White being the bus driver there. Went top 5 defense with the Ravens. Was going for Cowboys, but got sniped. Romeo Doubs, the wide receiver 1 for Green Bay, although it's a spread out attack. Backup QB is Baker Mayfield. Young-Ho Koo for my kicker. Caleb is going to crush his ADP, in my opinion. I agree the role, because you've got somebody with Rome Odunze, a first-round pick at 109 around him, a 6-time Pro Bowler in Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore coming off of a career year, Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, DeAndre Swift, averaging in the ballpark of 40 to 50 targets per year. Yeah, Caleb's in a great spot. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for sticking it through with me throughout 3 different mock drafts. We went 12-team PPR, 12-team standard, 12-team PPR. I'll probably look for a half PPR or go on Sleeper or do something different tomorrow, but we will be live streaming on Labor Day as well. Folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Drop any more questions you have in the comment section below. We've got a free fantasy football league in the description. If you want to join that, we'll do more details. Maybe we'll turn it into paid. And in the live chat, we've got the Discord as well. Lots of different resources. Happy to help you guys out. We will see you tomorrow.